Whoa. Willow.
A short while ago, the IDF identified Hezbollah terrorist organization preparing to fire missiles, rockets towards Israeli territory. In a self-defense act to remove these threats, the IDF is striking terror targets in Lebanon from which Hezbollah was planning to launch their attacks on Israeli civilians. From right next to the homes of Lebanese civilians in the south of Lebanon, we can see that Hezbollah is preparing to launch an extensive attack on Israel, while endangering the Lebanese civilians. We warn the civilians located in the areas where Hezbollah is operating to move out of harm's way immediately for their own safety. Hezbollah's ongoing aggression risks dragging the people of Lebanon, the people of Israel, and the whole region into a wider escalation. Israel will not tolerate Hezbollah's attacks on our civilians. We are operating in self-defense from Hezbollah and any other enemy that joins in their attacks against us. And we are ready to do everything we need to defend the people of Israel.
Israel has launched airstrikes across southern Lebanon, calling it a preemptive strike on Hezbollah.
Meantime, the militant group said it launched hundreds of rockets and drones to avenge the killing of one of its top commanders last month. There are fears an all-out war could draw in the U.S., Iran, and militant groups across the region. The heavy exchange of fire comes as U.S. and Arab mediators try to broker a ceasefire deal in the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza.
Explosions and flashes of rocket fire lighting up the sky over the Israel-Lebanon border in the most heated exchange of fire between Israel and Hezbollah since the war began, amplifying the risk of a regional war. Scores of Israeli missiles fired into southern Lebanon to take out Hezbollah military targets.
An Israeli military spokesperson says Hezbollah was planning to attack Israeli civilians. As a result of the airstrikes, flights headed to Israel's Ben Gurion airport are being diverted.
And it has been firing rockets and has the same sort of basic posture as Hamas does, that it wants to see Israel wiped from the face of the earth.
Has described the strikes by Israel this morning as the most intense that Lebanon has seen since hostilities began last October. I saw one estimate that there were at least 25 sites that were hit in really just the course of a few hours, and our understanding is there are still some strikes occurring in the south of the country. Now, the Ministry of Health is reporting a preliminary death toll of 3 people. 1 individual was killed on a strike in a car in a town near the border. 2 others were killed in a strike further away from the border.
I thought it was a great move. Look, the preemptive strike was very, very important, because if they had launched the strike, the Hezbollah into Israel with thousands of missiles, and they were talking thousands, what would have happened with the loss of lives of Israelis and also the facilities? It would have pushed the Israelis into a doctrine they call Dahiyya. And what Dahiyya is called disproportionate response. And I think what they did, they prevented the next or the third Israeli-Lebanese war, and that is smart. And because of that, I think it's kind of reset the battlefield there.
Israel saying around 100 fighter jets were used in this operation last night, hitting around 200 targets in Lebanon. Now, if that's the case, then that is the most serious attack on Hezbollah since the full-scale war between Israel and Lebanon back in 2006. Now, you know, in the last few weeks, we've seen intense diplomatic efforts to try and stop the crisis in Gaza escalating into a wider regional conflict. But the United States has warned that the failure to get a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza could see this escalate into a wider regional conflict. At the moment, judging on what's happened this morning, you'd have to say that those diplomatic efforts have not worked.
But you kind of got to focus in on what's going to happen there and prevent something from happening into the future. And they haven't done it, but the Israelis have done it. So the Israelis have done, actually, is reset deterrence in the region. I think it's smart. And I think it's put the Hezbollah on their back foot, and it's clearly put the Iranians on their back foot, that they haven't done anything at all.
Preemptive.